Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Chambers. This is KC Sports Talk, and I'm here today with Richard Osborn Jr., the tournament promoter of the Ozark Mountain Nationals. Thank you so much for joining the show today, Richard.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Maybe talk about the history of the Ozark Mountain Nationals. I know you guys just had your tournament back on July 30th and 31st. Maybe talk about the history of the tournament and why you wanted to start the tournament as well.
Absolutely. So this was our 10th year. I was with my family doing tournaments beforehand, and I wanted to kind of branch out and do something on my own. The main purpose of the Ozark Mountain Nationals was to start to bring people together that normally didn't compete together. Sometimes we get in our own regions, we get in our own circuits. You have closed sanctioning bodies, and I really wanted to see what could happen if we all got together. And honestly, that's really what the purpose was. The first year was not a very big tournament, but we've been growing year over year. But the premise has always been trying to bring people in, provide great customer service, and get people to meet one another that it normally wouldn't get to meet with each other. And so it's just grown. We're the largest event now in our region. In 6 states, that's Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. We're the largest open tournament in our region. And so when we have been the last 4 or 5 years. So, but we've done it off the premise of bringing people together. I really preach unity. I want unity in our sport. And the only way for our sport to grow is if we're all working together. And that's what I built Ozark Mountain Nationals off of.
Awesome. I actually seen in your video, your post video, that different pictures and videos of different competitors. You had people like Edgar Cordova from Guatemala and elite competitors such as Connor Chesteen from the US, if I'm not mistaken, and Kellen Kowalski. So there was a lot of elite competitors that did come to your tournament, which is awesome as well.
Yeah, we've been blessed over the years. We've had some great competition and people that have some of the top competitors in the nation have passed through our doors. And so we've been very, very blessed and fortunate to have them here. Absolutely.
That's awesome. So maybe discuss why you wanted to start the Open Martial Arts Tournament discussion board on Facebook and how it's gained traction throughout the open martial arts community over the past few months.
Well, we started that about 4 years ago. I'm a big proponent of asking questions. I think the biggest issues or obstacles we face with our sport is feedback. And with social media, we need a platform to be able to promote others. So that's number one, is promote every single tournament that I can get my hands on. I don't care what sanctioning body you are. I don't care what part of the country you are or outside of the country. If you've got a tournament and I get my hands on it, I'm going to share it. But it needs to be shared within our community. Sometimes if I share stuff on my Facebook page, it kind of gets lost in the shuffle. So I wanted to kind of fine tune how to share it. And then feedback from competitors, feedback from parents, feedback from other promoters. What changes can we make? How can we make things better? How can we improve our sport tournament over tournament to make it better, to improve it for everyone, from the spectator to the 5-year-old white belt to the senior black belt that's 60 years old, has been in the game for 50 years. How do we make the sport better? And I think those discussions need to be had. They need to be had out in the open so we can get opinions and feedback from everyone.
That's awesome. I know on your discussion board, there's been discussions as far as open divisions, if divisions should be run a certain way, people's opinions on open tournaments, if certain leagues run certain things a certain way. I know with the Olympics just happening, that was sanctioned by the WKF. There was a lot of people that commented about what are some of the rules about the WKF for the people that don't know some of those rules as well, and comparing stuff and having good, hearty conversations about it and making people, promoting different organizations and leagues to make people more aware of the stuff that's out there as well.
Absolutely. An audience is what we need. I'm a big proponent that if we had martial artists just watching our sport, we could get more sponsors, we could get more TV time. I don't know if we're ever going to be an audience sport where somebody could just walk off the street and watch our sport, but the eyes of martial arts is big and vast. And so if you get other martial artists starting to watch sport martial artists, that will turn a lot of heads and get a lot of attention just on our own sport. And school owners, people that maybe don't want to do tournaments, but if they find an athlete that they like, and if they know about that athlete, they'll follow that athlete and get that athlete more attention out there in the open world for them to pick up maybe a sponsorship. So benefiting the athletes, benefiting the sport, and really just making a name for ourselves, let people know within our community what we do as far as sport martial arts.
Absolutely. I know as far as podcasting as well, you've gone to my podcast, KC Sports Talk, I appreciate that. Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff with the Martial Arts Internet Work. It's been on that page, and the Jackson Riddle podcast on Black Belt Magazine has been on your page as well. So not just even tournament promotion, but also different podcasts as well, so you can learn about the history of some of these great athletes, promoters, coaches, so people can hear people's opinions on what people are thinking around the sport is important as well.
Absolutely. We got to share it. We got to share everything.
Absolutely. So maybe talk about how you got into tournament promotion in general.
Well, so, we were talking earlier. So I come from a family of martial artists. So my father was a promoter back in the mid 80s, about 84, 85 is when he first started kickboxing and tournament promotions. Back in the day, it was very common for you to have a tournament during the day and then kickboxing fights at night. It was kind of like point fighting and kickboxing kind of went hand in hand in the 80s and the 70s. As a big correlation. So my father actually I don't remember a year in my life that I don't remember we were promoting a tournament. So when I grew up, that's all it was. Kickboxing fights and tournament promotion. So I just really grew up with it. So when I first started martial arts, as soon as I got my white belt, I went to my first tournament, and my father was promoting tournament and kickboxing fights for years and years and years and years. And I never thought I would get into it until the early 2000s. And then I dipped my foot in a little bit, kind of dabbled in it. And then here in the last 15, 16 years, I really went full bore with it to try and really raise what I do as a event promoter and really just kind of see how far I can take it as a tournament promoter.
That's awesome. You're able to have that experience from your father to be taken into the tournament promotion as well. For me, I've been able to do some online tournaments, online competitions. I give a big shout out to Eventech, has really helped me out as well. I've had a lot of help from actual people that I've done in-person events, such as Michael Plady and people like that have helped me along, and Jeff Doss that have helped me to make this event better. And in every event, doesn't matter what event it is or what league, you're always trying to make things better and improve things. So really, as a promoter, it's a journey in your martial arts career as much as it is in yourself as a martial artist doing martial arts as well, which is really cool.
Absolutely. And that's what you said, improvement. Everything that we do is we're working to the next. If you're an athlete, you're just a regular martial artist, you're a promoter, whatever we're doing in regular life, you're always trying to improve on the next thing, and you're always wanting to be better. And that's what makes us great as humans, man. We always want to achieve something else. We always want to get to that next level, and it never stops. It never stops.
Absolutely. I've seen a lot of different athletes in the WKF. I was in the WKF for 4 years, but there's a lot of athletes that excel in school and different athletic outside of martial arts because they have the focus and discipline the martial arts taught them as well. So that's awesome.
Yes, it is. It is. It correlates to all life. I am in marketing, and my skills through martial arts helped me with my career as far as a marketing liaison for a hospital system. And so when I go out and do public speaking, or I go out and present to doctors and different organizations, my martial arts being out in front of crowds, competing big time with competition, crowds don't bother me like they do other people. And I'm able to present and do my job as a career because of sport martial arts. So it's helped me out tremendously in my everyday life.
Absolutely. What was your biggest takeaway from the Ozark Mountain Nationals back on July 30th and 31st, the most recent event?
Well, for me as a promoter, I look at the negative first. So there are things that I have to improve. And every year I do, because the numbers fluctuate. And this year was our second largest crowd that we'd had. So we had almost 400 competitors, and we had a huge amount of spectators. I think our final estimate was 700 to 800 spectators is what we had. So we had 1,200 people, 1,300 people, but the way our scheduling was. So the biggest takeaway is, what can I improve? How can I take care of my judges better? How can I take care of my scorekeepers better? How can I take care of parents better, competitors? So those are the things I think about first. I know it's like, well, why would you think about the negative things first? Because next year I want it to be better. And so, but we got a lot of positive feedback. We got a lot of surveys back. The organization that we were with, ProMag, sent out a survey. And we got, I don't know, 55 surveys back from competitors and parents. And some had great remarks. Some had things we needed to improve on. And so we got a lot of good feedback. People loved the event, and that is great. But my main concern is the ones that didn't like it, and what can I do to improve their experience with us next year. And Saturday night and Sunday, me and my wife were already working on the plan for next year. So Saturday night after the tournament's gone, you're tired, you're wore out, and we're sitting at dinner planning next year. I mean, that's just how it works. So, but those are the things that were my takeaways. People loved the event. They thought it was great, but there were some other people that didn't. And there are some things and some takeaways that we need to do to improve to make that experience better for those coming next year.
Absolutely. Always trying to improve in your event is a very important thing. To have more people that want to come to the event, it's also the positivity of the competitor so that they promote it also. So you have more people coming in and different, not even just for promotion, but different styles of karate coming into an open event as well, which is really cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what a lot of people, Mark, Ozark Mountain National, some people are not regular tournament competitors, but they wait all year long to come to OMN. And that's exactly what I want. I want the veterans, the people who love competition, and the people that maybe like, you know what, we're going to try one tournament a year, and they circle OMN as being that tournament. And I take a lot of pride in that. So I've got one chance to impress certain groups to make a great impression. And I want to leave that lasting impression every single time I have a tournament.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate everything that you're doing. You're doing a great job. You keep it up, okay?
Thank you very much, sir. This has been KC Sports Talk, the podcast with Kyle Chambers.